Hey guys, it's Kana back again with another review, and I'm going to talk about the new Netflix release, I Care a Lot. This movie stars Rosamund Pike, Peter Dinklage, Dianne Wiest, Messina. The premise is there is this shady woman named Marla Grayson who runs a legal guardianship business, putting old people into care facilities and basically selling their property for profit. Unfortunately, she goes after the wrong woman, and it brings a former Russian crime boss after her. That is the storyline and the premise of this. I got my notes here of this movie. I did not know what to expect with this. And shout out to Sharonda over at Pay or Wait, because I saw that she was going to review it, and I didn't watch her review yet, but I have a couple of people who I follow, and if they review stuff and if they give you a happy face on their profile, I kind of gauge whether I'm going to watch something by that. Oftentimes, and I do go back and watch their review later on. And so I did that. And I don't usually shout people out, but I like her stuff. And you know, we got to support brown ladies doing the thing over in this channel. I did not remember Rosamund Pike. She kind of has that one of those faces that, like, every time I see her, I'm like, oh, I know her. And then I have to go down the list of what I know her from. And so, of course, Gone Girl and all of that. But no, of course, the thing that I know her from is Pride or Prejudice, where she played Jane, the sister to Lizzie. And Lizzie Bennet, Jane Bennet, the two Bennet sisters. Well, there were 5 of them, but they were the 2 that were close. And Jane was supposed to be like the beauty and all of that. So it is so weird to see her play a villainous character, because that's my frame of reference for her, but she does it so good. So this movie, to me, for 2021, and I feel like 2020 and 2021, or there's a lot of overlap. So it's kind of, when I'm talking about movies from this time period of being in quarantine, I'm not talking about just 2021, because obviously we're at the beginning of the year. I can't say that this is one of my favorites from the year. I can say this is one of my favorites from quarantine. Because it was entertaining. And there have been a lot of movies that have come out during this time period that have been good and entertaining, but emotionally draining, because they made me cry, or they made me feel like in my emotions a whole lot in like a sad way. This kind of made me in my emotions, but in like an angry way, but then not like in a violent, angry way. So it made it a little different. And I was able to just enjoy this movie a whole lot more. So some of the pros of the movie: it is very well paced, especially towards the beginning and middle of the movie. It didn't start to drag until like the last 14 minutes for me. And it was more about my expectation for the ending, and I'll talk about that in just a second. But it was very well paced. The montages, the transition sequences kept me engaged. They didn't stay on one part too long where it got dull for me. Rosamund Pike plays a great bad guy. And then, of course, because, you know, she plays like this very privileged, uber feminist white female, you kind of can hate her personality anyway, because she looks at everything from the framework of men trying to take her down, and then on the top of that, she's trying to take down elderly people. So it's like she's just so good to hate. And I never felt like I was on her side, but she was intriguing, right? It's just an interesting premise of a movie, because there are no good guys in this movie at all. Like, you start by rooting for one person, and I stayed rooting for them for quite some time, but then at the end, it kind of flips it. And so it's kind of hard to root for them. So there's no good guy in this movie. So really, you kind of, as a viewer, are just left like not knowing what to do with your emotions. The cons. I don't like that there are no clear good guys. So therefore, the bad guys don't ever feel like they 100% get their comeuppance. And then the ending, it was good, but it wasn't great. And I'm going to premise this by saying, I think this was because it wasn't the ending that I wanted. That makes sense. Okay. So I'm going to end there in terms of no spoilers, and just say this was definitely an A-rated movie. I think it was like an A- because of the ending, but the pacing, the storyline, the crafting of the villains were all really great. Chris Messina was super charismatic. Dianne Wiest, I had to do a double take and say, wait a second, is that Dianne Wiest? Like, I forgot. I watched so many like movies with her from like back in the day that I forget how old these actors who were like big in the 70s and 80s and such are now, that it kind of throws me off balance. But she was super, super sweet as like this kind old lady, but then she flips it on you and you're like, whoa, okay, Granny. Peter Dinklage. First of all, I've not done too many Game of Thrones videos on this channel, but I'm a huge Game of Thrones fan. Peter Dinklage is everything. Tyrion is everything. There will never be another Tyrion. If they ever remake the series, Peter Dinklage is put the bar so high, and he's so good. And I love to see him in roles where his size is not a factor, because he's just such a good actor. He's just so good. So good. He needs to be, I need to see him like a romance movie. You know, he's just everything. He's just everything. And like, again, Rosamund Pike was really, really good as a bad guy. So that's my take on the movie. Definitely gets an A rating. What brings it down from an A plus to an A? There's no comeuppance. It exposes the flaws in our system, but it doesn't seemingly point fingers at any one entity. And because there's no comeuppance early on for the character in a way that kind of reverts what they've been doing, it's just like leaves us in like this hopeless state of, when you get old, this is going to possibly happen to you. And there's really nothing you can do about it, because nothing is really done about it in the movie. So this is where I'm going to say my spoilers, to say the ending that should have happened and where it should have ended, it should have ended with Peter Dinklage's character taking Marla Grayson, Rosamund Pike's character, out. And it should have never been where he dived into her shady practices, because I wanted to see him have like a moral code of, we mess with people, but you don't mess with kids and old people. Like, I wanted to see somebody have that moral code of, old people should not be messed with. They're supposed to be protected. And we don't see anyone in the movie have that moral code. It's like, don't mess with my old person, because that's my mama, but I'm gonna mess with all y'all mamas. And so that is the part that was really hard pill to swallow and made the movie, and especially the ending. Yes, Marla individually gets her comeuppance. She gets taken to task, but at the point that she does, so much damage has been done, and it's, you know, as an audience member, it's never going to be rectified. So it was just really hard to jive with that, because I think when you have a movie with all bad guys and the bad guy is such a bad guy, like there were times she was winning and I was like, why is she winning? I'm not rooting for her. So in the very last half, the third act of the movie, I was not vested in watching her try to take down Peter Dinklage's character, because I didn't care, because I don't like her. Like, I wanted her to die. I wanted her to be everything taken away from her, like stripped down. I wanted Dianne Wiest to lay them hands in such a way that she could never recover. That's really what I wanted. And we have moments of that. I think I read somewhere where someone was saying that this should have been more comedic. And I think I kind of agree with that take, where if they hadn't gone with the ending they went with, and I think if they had heightened the comedic elements, or the parts where like Marla is getting taken to task like a little bit sooner, I think it would have been more enjoyable. Just a smidgen. But on its own, premise was good. It was shot well. The pacing was really, really good. The characters and the actors are all charismatic. Well, the actors are all charismatic in their character roles. But just as an overall premise, it was just a hard pill to swallow. But I really enjoyed the movie, and I think you will too. I tried to say my vision or my point without giving too much away. So hopefully that helps. So if you have seen I Care a Lot, let me know down below in the comments. Did you love it? Did you hate it? What did you think about it? Did you like the ending? Where did you want the movie to end? Because there was a couple of places where I thought they could have ended it and it would have been great for me. And are there any things that you want to see? Any of these characters? I love these actors. I really love these actors. This was a good ensemble. This was good, well-picked casting. So bravo to the casting team. So yeah, that's how I feel about I Care a Lot. And before I go, I don't know about anybody else who was an 80s baby, but every time I hear the title, I just think, care a lot. We care a lot. Care a lot. We care a lot. So all my Care Bears fans, you know what that's about. All right, guys. So that's it for this video. Do me a favor and subscribe, share, like, all of those things. Comment down below so we can have some good conversation. And until next time, toodles.